In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to look at how to scrub our timeline and such, and maybe cut out different pieces of source footage. So let's delete anything that we have on our main timeline right now. And I want to use the universal counting leader. So let's double click on it. Actually, you know what? I guess when I double click on it, it wants to come up with the setup. So I'm going to drag this into my source window. Now in the source window, I can play this particular source footage just to make sure it's exactly what I want, and I can choose which parts of it that I'm going to put into my final program. The different choices that we have are this. In the top left, we have setting an in point, setting an out point. That is going to set where we start our footage and where we end it. By default, those are already set to the beginning and end of the clip, but we can move them at any time. This one is go to the end point. This is, or go to the end point, go to the out point. This one is play into out, just so we can see what that into out looks like. This next one here is set an unnumbered marker, which we don't do a whole heck of a lot of. And we can jump to markers if we want. Here in the middle, we've got stepping backwards and forwards, which are actually just stepping one frame to the left or right. Then we have play. This one is a shuttle, and the shuttle allows us to kind of quickly drag through. Now, we've got this jog wheel underneath that, which does pretty much the same thing. And you can see that if we use all these different tools, we can get through our footage pretty quick. One of the things for you to note is that you've got a lot of different ways to navigate through this. You can drag on the blue timeline indicator. You can even grab the number, your time code, on the top left. Now this time code says right now 0406. That means that it's 4 seconds in on the 6th frame. So if we go back to the very beginning, notice that our frames go up to 29, and then it starts over. Boom. So 30 is 1 second. So generally you've got 29.97 frames a second. So generally you have 30 frames a second that you're dealing with. So that's why it starts over at 1. And then you can continue that, and of course 3 seconds is 90 frames in. So what I'd like you to do is let's go back to right after picture start, and it starts at 8, 3 seconds. Create an in. We'll go down to 3. So the next frame after 3 is 2. So I'm going to go back to 3, do my endpoint right there. And you'll see it's just chosen from 8 seconds to 3 seconds. And I can click and drag that down. Now, here's where we look at the right-hand side of this, what other choices we have. We can loop it. So when we do playback, it will actually loop through that one little section that we have. So I can see what that looks like. So it's looping the playback. The next thing we have are our margins to see what our title safe and action safe margins are going to look like with this footage. And we'll talk about that later. The next thing over we have is different ways we can view this footage, such as we can look at the audio waveform for it. We can look at the alpha for it, which we'll talk about later. We can look at different vector scopes for it, which are pretty crazy. And these actually, you're probably not going to see them change a whole lot because we don't really have a lot of detailed color in here. Here's my RGB parade, which are different ways of looking at your video itself. And those people who are really good know exactly what that stuff means. I'll go back to composite video, and you'll see that actual video. Down here you have insert or overlay. Insert will insert new video footage in between two. Overlay will overlay it on top on the video that you have selected. So you have to be aware of which video channel you have selected at a time. Because if you select a different